I'm Seymour Kazirmirski. Thank you for joining us today on our September, what is it, September 30th broadcast. It is 9 months since we have been starting Seymour's World, and I can't believe how it has grown over the last few months. We have some wonderful guests today, but before we get to them, I'd like to review what happened last week. We had David Day, I was on with him, and we talked about the ISIS situation. And I am very pleased to say that the news of this week has borne out a lot of our thought processes, especially the one where we see that several Arab countries are now coming to join the coalition. We don't know where it's going to last, but we realize that ISIS may be a method of making sure that Arab countries join together rather than split apart on what is going to be a whole new Arab world in the next 2 to 5 years. So, shall we get to today's guests? I want to introduce you to Aaron Domingo and to Vladimir. Vladimir, let me get the last name right. It is Sasic.
Yes, it is.
And you may know this young man, Aaron Domingo. Aaron has been here before.
I have.
Aaron has been here as a musician with Make 'Em Smile. And Vladimir, I know you because you're one of the greatest tennis stars that BYU ever had here in Hawaii.
I think that's too kind, but yes, I do.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about your backgrounds and what you're doing today and how important the company that you have formed is for the Hawaii marketplace. And that's the reason that I wanted to have you guys on the show, because I really believe it's important to show Hawaii consumers, young people, middle-aged people, that they have alternatives to what is available from the big guys, the guys who are out there trying to sell major products. So without further ado, Aaron, let's refresh everybody about your background.
Right. Well, my name is Aaron Domingo. I'm born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I know Seymour because of the Make 'Em Smile program. Great program that plays for, the children of different hospitals here. And a little bit about me, I went to Kamehameha schools, high school, and I actually went to college in Nashville, Tennessee, a school called Belmont University, where I majored in music business production, audio engineering. So spent some time up there songwriting, doing the whole musician thing, and when I actually moved back to Hawaii, I was able to start my own company in entertainment and weddings, and somehow met Seymour through the thick of it all, and was able to start a very good relationship playing in the hospitals together, and able to meet a lot of people, and just great amount of outreach. And now I'm working with Wealth Strategy Partners in a new career where I feel like I'm equally susceptible to helping a lot of people, and it's a great opportunity, and I'm learning so much, and it's just been a crazy ride, but I'm loving it, taking it day by day. Yeah.
I think what I like, Aaron, is I've gotten to know you very well over these last 9 months that we started. It's a year now from Seymour's World. And I think I see that you have a certain affinity to help people. You want to make sure that when you're playing music for these kids, you have a direct contact with them. You want them to realize that you're not just playing music. You want to do something for them. And when you told me you were going to go to Wealth Strategy Partners, and I asked you, why do you want to go to Wealth Strategy Partners, what did you tell me?
I said I think I have the ability to help a lot of people here.
That's exactly right. I remember those words. And I told you that I would help and support you because I feel it's important, no matter what business. You could be selling candles or shoes or insurance or financial planning, whatever it may be. One of the critical issues is to really want to help people. And you did it with Make 'Em Smile. We still get people asking for you. And thank heaven you find time to still come and join us. I know it's not as often as it used to be, but I think it's important that you do it. It's very important for you.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
Now, Vladik, we want to hear all about you. I've already promoted you as a tennis star, so give us a little bit of your background.
Sure. Well, I'm originally from Serbia. I was born and raised in Serbia in Europe. I was a tennis player, so I played on a junior national tennis team in Serbia, and that's how I ended up in the United States, actually, on a tennis scholarship. I first came to University of New Orleans in Louisiana, and then later on transferred to BYU, Hawaii, of all places.
There's a story there, Vladdy. How did you get from there to BYU?
Well,
are you a Mormon by any chance?
No,
No.
I'm not. It really, it started with, bombing of Serbia had everything to do with it because it was in 1999 and I couldn't go back after my first semester in the United States because there was a war back home. And I was looking to stay in the United States and find some work during the summer and so on. And tennis was the only thing I could do back then. And I ended up, looking for coaching type jobs. It just so happened to be that one of the tennis camps that I applied to was headed by the BYU Hawaii head tennis coach. And it worked out where I couldn't work for him, but he called me a couple weeks later after doing some of his research and said, "Hey, I know it didn't work out where you could where you could work for me, but how about playing?" And he said Hawaii, and I was, there on the next airplane.
Wow, that is fabulous. So then, when you were at BYU, were you studying anything particular?
Yes, I majored in mathematics, so I got my degree in mathematics from BYU Hawaii, and pretty much almost right out of school, I ended up in the financial services industry. I started here in Hawaii with John Hancock, went up the corporate ladder a little bit, ended up in a management position in Chicago, spent about 3 years on the mainland before returning back to Hawaii. And our company has a lot to do with my return because it was started by a couple of really good friends of mine who started in the business right around the same time as me, and they invited me, and it was a perfect timing. My older daughter was born, and I knew I didn't want her to grow up in that cold Chicago weather.
I don't blame you.
We made our way back to Hawaii, and I've been, with the company ever since. I'm one of the vice presidents and partners in the company, and in the meantime, I also became a certified financial planner and a chartered financial consultant.
Well, let's get back to what's important, Vladdy.
Sure.
You and I have not played tennis yet. I'm waiting for a tennis lesson.
Sure.
Or maybe we could have a little wager, something on the side. I'm an old guy, remember, 2 brand new knees, but I've been playing for 30 years, and if you could promise me on air that we're going to have a tennis match one of these days, I'd love to do it.
I'm committing to it right here on the
It's
air.
a deal. We have a deal. We have a deal. Aaron, let's go back a little bit to your joining Wealth Strategy Partners.
Absolutely.
It's important for our viewers to know, especially young viewers who are always thinking about, should I change jobs, should I not change jobs?
Right.
What was the impetus to do that?
To me, it really was a no-brainer. I actually started as a client, so with my business, I somehow by fate found Vladdy and sat in one of the seminars, and what he did for me and my company was so much more than just financial advising. He made me dig deep into my passion, really made me kind of soul search into myself, and from that I was able to kind of break it down to where I stopped everything in the career-wise, kind of just dropped down. I was like, I need to develop myself as a person, So with this company, I saw a huge opportunity to not only develop myself as a person, but be able to get to the point where I can help a lot of people. So from a career perspective, a lot of it for me was just digging real deep and finding the way to really come up with something that I can reach out to help people. And for me, it didn't even feel like a career change. It just felt like a life change, a wake-up call, So
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's I'm bringing up some memories. You came. I have another program you're in charge, which is my foster kids program, and you came to play.
Great program.
And it was so interesting because the kids were having our Thanksgiving party, and I host the party for the 38 kids at You're in Charge. And they all asked about you.
Oh,
they said, "Are you coming back?"
I'd love to.
That was really a very touching moment when I see that they remember from last year that you were there for the party.
Well, I'm committing on air to come back.
All right, great. We'd like to have you. I think it's important for our viewers and our young people to hear what you just said, that you were ready to commit to something. You can't go in half. You have to be ready to do it. So you're ready to move out of the music business, the entertainment business, the wedding business, all those things, and commit yourself to a new business. And so far, it's obviously working. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So it is great. And Vladdy, from your side, you have a family here, children?
Yes, I'm married. I have 2 kids, 2 daughters. One is 5, and the other one is just 13 months. So a lot of running around at home, probably just as much as I do at work.
Wow. Do you get back to Serbia at all?
We tried to go. You know, it was relatively difficult traveling with two kids, but we made it back this summer. You know, obviously a lot of family back home and so on.
Wow.
So we like to go and visit, and I would like my daughters to be bilingual. So you know, having the ability for them to spend a summer in Serbia is really crucial for that. So.
Do you teach them, or does your wife speak Serbian?
We try to, yes. You know, oddly enough, I met my wife in Chicago, but, you know, if you know a little bit about diversity in Chicago, you know, it's not so odd because there's about 250,000 Serbs in Chicago. So
and
she is
1 million Polacks there,
yes,
too.
just about. So, you know, my wife is Serbian, so we try to speak
Wow.
Serbian at home.
That's great.
You know, but with the older one, it's a little bit harder now that she started school, and you know, she's picking up English much faster.
Wow. Before we get into Wealth Strategy Partners, did you find the market difficult or different from here and the mainland?
Somewhat, yes. And the reason why is because I think a big difference between Hawaii market, you know, especially, you know, the businesses that are in Hawaii, most of them are small, closely held family businesses. There is, you know, less than 20 employees and so on, and, you know, and nothing like a big city like Chicago where there's a lot of huge businesses and so on. So the reason why I say this is because for those guys who are owners of small, closely held family businesses, it's really hard to figure out where does the personal finance stop and business begins and vice versa. There's a lot of overlap sort of area. And you know, what we found is that nobody's really effectively helping these people leverage the fact that they're business owners for personal financial gain, and vice versa, leveraging your personal finance for either business exit strategies or business growth and so on. And I think that's what we do best effectively.
Wow, that's the first time I've ever heard that. And and I know a lot of people in the financial planning business and the insurance business, but putting it the way you just put it makes everybody realize that you are out to help them personally. It's how they are going to have their legacy, and by having a good financial plan, they will secure a legacy for them and their family.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think another reason why you haven't heard it before is because the financial world today has become so overly complex, you know, and as a result, what we're seeing is that people are focusing on the wrong things, usually things that they cannot control, versus focusing on things that are well within their control that will, you know, govern the outcome of, you know, their success financially.
Well,
so
how did you come up with the idea?
Well, it wasn't all me. I can't take credit for that.
You have partners, I know.
Yes. So we started a company, you know, just on September 16th. We've had our 7-year anniversary. We started on September 16th, 2007, here in Hawaii, and we started virtually with no employees. We now employ about 50 people right here in our Honolulu location, and we have over 4,000 clients in the state of Hawaii. And then something that we're particularly proud of, in 2012, we expanded to the mainland, and we now have 7 locations throughout California and Nevada, and about 130 advisors and another 30 on staff. So a pretty decent-sized regional company at this point.
I love it. I love the idea that you diversified out of Hawaii, and that you're a company that's made it not just on the Hawaii marketplace, that you're on the mainland and you're in other areas. I think that's absolutely terrific. Now, I want to get into the nuts and bolts of really what makes you different, but we have to take a short break.
Sure.
As soon as we get back from the break, Vladi, if you don't mind, we can start the actual discussion about how do people get a good financial plan? What are the critical issues of deciding I have to have a financial plan? My biggest problem I have when I'm mentoring young people, and they're already in their 20s and they could have small businesses or just starting, they have no idea when I ask them, are you saving some money every month? And I think we should end this session on that and then continue that afterwards.
Sure.
My name is Seymour Kazirmirski. We're on Seymour's World at ThinkTech Hawaii.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard. I'm the host of Center Stage here on the ThinkTech Digital Series. The show is every Wednesday from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and I want you to watch this show because I think that when we talk with artists on the show, about what they do, how they do it, and most importantly, why they do it. I believe that it resonates within each of us, and we find something inside of ourselves that brings us closer to all of humanity. That's what arts are there to do, and that's what I'm here to do on this show. That's Center Stage. It's on every Wednesday from 2 to 3 o'clock. I hope to see you there.
Hi, welcome back to Seymour's World. I'm Seymour Kazirmirski. It is September 30th here in Honolulu, Hawaii, and we are very, very fortunate to have Aaron Domingo and Vladimir here to help me understand what is so important about financial planning, because I wish I could convince a lot of the people I work with that they should look more into savings than looking into making a profit. It's a very big difference. Aaron, before we get into it, can we see a little bit of who you are?
Sure.
Let's see if we can bring up a picture. Oh my God,
Wow.
Where is that, Aaron?
That is at a fundraiser, I believe, and that's me playing music. I actually, it's one of my biggest passions and hobbies. Play the guitar, songwriter, you know, I love it all. Country music, anything you could think of.
I think you're quite famous in the Make 'Em Smile program.
I don't know about that.
Because Aaron goes to, oh my God, look at this picture.
Yeah,
Look at
right,
it.
no.
You were grooving there, weren't you?
Shirt's a little too tight, but, you know, it's all right, yeah.
There was a very interesting day, I think it was at Kaiser Hospital,
Right.
where Aaron walks into a room and he says, what would you like to hear? And 90% of the time it's Katy Perry and Bruno Mars and young people stuff. And this young girl came out with a name. Aaron looked at her, I saw her look at Aaron, and he didn't know how to play that song. But you did promise her the next time that you would come to Kaiser that you would know the song. And wouldn't you believe it, I think it was 2 weeks later, he came into Kaiser and played for that child, and it was just amazing. Her eyes were as big as silver dollars. She couldn't believe that he took the time and the effort to do something like that. And that gives credit to the way you are, Aaron. It's really, really wonderful. Vladdy, back to business. I'm sorry. Music is part of my love and part of my passion, and Aaron is one of my best. So it's terrific. Let's get back a little bit to Wealth Strategy Partners. So you told us how it all started, and what do you attribute the success to? I mean, you've got an amazing success record.
Sure. So I really attribute it to two things. Number one, and probably a little less important, is the fact that we're affiliated with Guardian Life Insurance Company out of New York, and our broker-dealer is Park Avenue Securities, also out of New York, Wall Street. And the reason why I say a little bit less important is because that affiliation is important to us, not so much as access to products, because really as a company we're not focused on the delivery of a particular financial product, but really more as access to some of the resources and structures that a small startup out of Hawaii would never be able to have. Particularly the living balance sheet, which is the computer software that we use in working with our clients, and hopefully I'll have a chance
It's called a living balance sheet.
The living balance sheet.
I like that.
Yes. And, it's a very sophisticated tool, and hopefully we'll have some chance to share it with your audience.
We actually have a couple of slides on it. But before that, can we get a little bit more into the company itself? You've got multi-branches, people all over the place. Can you tell us about the growth curve? Is it just exponential, or just?
It has been exponential. I think we've had a 35% growth over the last 7 years, each year. And we're tracking to be on that same path for 2014.
Is the competition afraid of Wealth Strategy Partners? I mean, 4,000 clients.
I really don't think that, the competition is afraid, because I firmly believe that what we do is very different from most other financial advisors, because when you really think about that traditional financial planning approach that has been utilized in the United States for the last, 30, 40 years, you can see that there are issues, because when you think about just some of the statistics out there, that 35% of people that are older than 65 depend solely on Social Security as a source of retirement income, that we have over $1 trillion in student loan debt, over $1 trillion in credit card debt. You can tell that there is few things that are not quite right when it comes to personal financial planning in the United States. And my belief, and our company's belief, it's because people are focused on things that they cannot control, and their plans are based on assumptions. So how that works is that you go see a financial advisor, and they try to figure out when would you like to retire, what your specific goals are, and then the mathematics around that is very linear. So they take a guess as to when are you going to retire. Then you can run out of money, so that they could take a guess as to how long you're going to live. Then how much money will you need in retirement is another guess. Then what the inflation would be another guess. And then what taxes will be and so on. And then finally the ultimate guess is what the return is going to be in the marketplace, and then they work the numbers backwards. So my question is, what happens if just one of those guesses doesn't pan out?
The house of cards falls down.
Exactly, and I think that's what's happening to most people out there, because that's how they plan for their financial futures. So what we're saying is, rather than focus on guesswork and assumptions, let's focus on things that we can control. And what are those things? So number one is financial organization. And when I say financial organization, I don't mean just where's my stuff, where's that dreaded drawer with all the paperwork and so on. It's really more, is there synergy in the financial decisions that you're making? Because what we see, especially with clients that come to us in later stages in their financial lives, is that they have all kinds of advisors. They have a car insurance guy, an attorney, a life insurance guy, a CPA, a real estate agent, mortgage broker, and so on. And all of these people are, selling you either a service or a product, but none of them are talking to each other. So there is no synergy. So the advice that you're getting on one side may be completely counterproductive to the advice that you're getting on the other side. And you can't know that without being able to have sort of a comprehensive view of your overall financial world. And I think that's what we do really well for our clients. And our computer software that I mentioned, the Living Balance Sheet, helps us with that significantly.
Before we get to the Living Balance Sheet, I want to understand the concept, because I think everybody who's hearing you for the first time needs to understand that you're going to bring in all of their financial advice, basically, that they're getting from all of these lawyers and accountants and insurance, and you're going to put all that together as part of a plan for them?
Yes, absolutely. So there's obviously there's so many things that affect one's financial world, and it would be very hard for us to be experts in every single one of those areas. So those things where we don't provide service or the expertise, what we've done, we've gone out and created sort of professional alliances, if you will, with certain people who have the expertise in those areas that we don't, and they're certainly available to meet with our clients. But that doesn't mean that we force our clients to change people that they work with and so on. All we're trying to say is that if you're having those other relationships with other professionals that affect your financial world, we'd like to know who they are. We'd like to talk to them. We'd like them to understand your overall financial plan just as well as us, so that we can make decisions together for the benefit of you. And the reason why we do that is because when you do that, what it leads to is that less money is being drained off your balance sheet and more of it stays on the balance sheet. And like you said, that's the most important thing. It's not about how much money you make, but about how much do you get to keep.
Right. That is absolutely fascinating, and I could see why you have 4,000 clients now, because with a story like that, and it's not a sales pitch, you are actually showing them this in a presentation form. You mentioned a slide. Could we bring this slide up?
Yes, absolutely.
Suri, if we could bring that slide up.
So what you're seeing here on the screen is sort of a mock client that we created. It's not a real person, but it's the snapshot of the advisor side of the Living Balance Sheet. It's a very unique computer software. The reason why it's unique and what makes it's the first of its kind that allows client access. So every single client that we work with gets their own personal financial website, username and password and so on.
Do you charge for this?
No, we do not. It is complementary to our clients at Wealth Strategy
So they
Partners.
can, just so we understand it, they sit down with you, you do an analysis, and then you provide them with this?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yes. There's few things that are extremely unique to the site. Number one, it's an aggregation website, so any institution that our clients are doing business with out there can be aggregated to the system. So let's say you're having a checking account at Bank of Hawaii or one of the local banks, and you do online banking, you can actually sync the system with that bank, and it will update account balances. It will do that with your investment account, with your retirement accounts, with your credit cards, car loans, student loans, mortgages, and so on.
So you do that as an individual. You can do it on your own.
Yes.
And when you make a payment, you stick it on there, and that helps.
Well, no transactions occur on our site. It's purely for balances,
Right.
balance aggregation. And
But then you see what you have.
exactly.
basically.
So you can
That's
see your net worth live 24/7, which, most people don't go through an exercise like this, especially individuals. Don't go to an exercise like this once in their lifetime, and here we bring it to our clients live.
And you give it to
24/7.
them that they can update it as they make payments, as they get cash, and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
it updates every night, actually, if the system
Wow.
is synced with their banking relationships. In addition to that, the site offers a vault, which is basically an online storage area for all their important documents. So, and as a service to our clients, we offer that, and many of them take us up on it. Every 3 to 6 months, they'll come in with a big shoebox full of paperwork, and we'll go through it, upload everything neatly, and organize it into folders for them, shred the rest confidentially, and basically now they have access to it anywhere they have internet access. So it really is a great tool, and it helps them go paperless.
I just got a viewer ask me, how much does this cost? Well, what do I tell them, or what do you tell them?
Sure. So, the access to the system does not cost anything. It's part of our process, because really, for us to be able to give recommendations to our clients, we have to understand their full financial world. And, just as much as this helps our clients, it also helps us do the financial analysis that we do. How we, and if the question really is how we get paid and how we're compensated, it's really at the back end of that process that is very well defined as to how we work with our clients. We will make certain recommendations, and those recommendations at the end of that process will include certain financial products, and that would be specific to the individuals
Whether
that we
it's
work
equities
with.
or bonds.
Exactly, or even
insurance, right,
yes.
right.
So if they find value in the work that we've done and the recommendations that we do, it is just our hope that they will place those products with us rather than take our work across the street and say, I want this.
Wow. Now, we have a balance sheet as well. Could we bring up that balance sheet, Zuri? So there's a typical balance sheet that shows assets and liabilities. Does this update automatically as well?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So, and what's also unique to this is protection and cash flow are introduced here as equally important, domains of one's personal living balance sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually patent pending, and it's proprietary to Guardian Life Insurance Company.
Yeah,
and
I have not seen that before
Yes.
either. I guess one of the most important questions, because we have a lot of small business owners listening to our show,
Mhm.
and we also have a lot of individuals listening to our show. You only sell to small business owners, or would you?
No, we work with,
individuals
as well,
And do they
and their
have to have a
families
certain
and
net
so on.
worth value?
No, we did not want to do that as a company. That was our conscious decision because, when I started in this business, I was very young, and, I really, didn't think about the impact that we make in people's lives. And, once I started doing this, I realized how big of an impact I can have on people and their families and so on. So when we started Wealth Strategy Partners, we decided not to have any minimums.
Wonderful, wonderful. So from the contact, we're going to put up your contact information.
Sure.
We'll put up both of yours, obviously, and they can just contact you, and you will get back to them. Very good. Okay, excellent. I think from my point of view, the idea of having somebody analyze rather than tell you what to buy, which is what most of the financial planners do, and be able to look at everything that you're doing as an individual or as a small business, it's almost the job of a consultant, and you're not charging for that part of the work. And I think as long as that's very clear to everybody that before you have to buy anything, you have to have a very, very good analysis of your business, I think that's wonderful. That's
Absolutely.
terrific.
Absolutely.
And I don't think, Walter, excuse me, he's my CPA, but I don't think you can do everything that they do, Walter. you guys are doing a lot more than what my CPA does, a lot more than what my attorney does, a lot more than what my trust attorney does, as a matter of fact. So it's a question of really setting up a process for the individual's financial future. That's
Sure.
what it really is. It's not a question of selling them something.
Absolutely, and I appreciate your comments, but I want to make it clear to your audience that we're not here to replace the CPAs or attorneys or
Right.
anybody. We just want to work together with them to maximize what our clients get to keep at the end of the day, because that's another one of those things that is well within our control. Because what we try to do is teach our clients that the only way they're going to ensure a sound financial future is that if they can put away each year 15 to 20 and save 15 to 20% of their income, because that's what it's all about. What financial vehicle they're going to use and what the interest rate is going to be is actually less important than that savings rate, and that's even a mathematically provable thing.
I see. Okay. Now they just put up a slide regarding your disclosure statement that just went out, so everybody could see it on there. Aaron, I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Vladimir is an expert, and you are becoming an expert. What did you have to do to learn the business?
Really, the thing that's great about Wealth Strategy Partners and what I love about this company is that its focus on teamwork is bigger than anything. So I don't have to go out there and feel like I'm alone in the process, and I don't have to feel like I'm going out and having to learn everything with the clients who are my friends and family, being the test dummies, as you will. So I'm knowing that in the early stages of my career, I have someone like Vladdy to really be the knowledge and the technical side of things that I can't really provide to my clients. Yet the relationship and the building and the trust, I can do that. So my ability to learn very quickly in this company is attributed to the fact that we focus on teamwork.
So how has it been? It's only a few months now.
It's been awesome. I made some great friends, and the company has been always pushing us to do the very best that we can for our clients, and we're high training program, and always in the conference room learning new things and concepts, and really just trying to provide the best service to our clients.
I was impressed with some people that I spoke to that I had told you to talk to, and they really liked the idea that you didn't come on to sell them something. You were really there to help them look at what their financial picture is, rather than trying to say you should be doing this and you should be doing that.
Right.
I think that's a very good way of moving forward with it. We need to take a short break, and then we're going to continue a little bit more about how the customer understands what you're doing. Because it's a lot for somebody to understand in the 15 minutes that we've spoken about. So what do they do? What is the best way to move forward? We're going to take a short break. I'm Seymour Kazirmirski on Seymour's World on ThinkTech Hawaii.
Hi, I'm Jay Fidel. That's Ted Ralston. Ted is the host of Where the Road Leads. It shows every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. It's about technology. It's about how people collaborating and solve problems with modern technology. It's where the road leads. We all know that. We should all be listening. Join us there, 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday. Now, what about that do you agree with?
All of it.
I knew he'd say that. Aloha. Say aloha.
Aloha.
Good.
Hi, welcome back to Seymour's World. I'm Seymour Kazirmirski. We're having a great show today. We have Aaron Domingo, we have Vladimir Sasic. We're talking about you, and we're talking about how are you going to protect yourself for the future. What does it really mean to make sure that you have a financial viable savings plan, bank account, whether it's equities, whether it's bonds, all the things that are out there for you. Am I an expert? Absolutely not. What I do for my clients in the consulting business is what these guys can do for you in the financial planning business. And I'm not selling this. I'm just very, very impressed. So, Vladdy, tell us a little bit about the whole protection aspect.
Sure. Well, I think, that's part of the financial planning that many people don't focus on, really, because, we like to think about investments and those things that, sound a little bit more attractive. But really a big part of what we do is making sure that what our clients have built so far can never be lost. And certainly instituting a good, protection plan is extremely important in that. You know, to give you a simple example, even though we don't engage in any sort of property and casualty insurance and so on, we want to make sure, you know, as financial consultants, like you said, that our clients have the proper automobile coverage. Most people today don't really know what their coverage is, you know, mostly because we've, you know, become accustomed to buying these things just because there's a, you know, funny commercial on TV and so on, but we don't really think about our level of protection. So you can do really well, invest your money really great, and then 10 years down the road, you make the wrong right turn, God forbid, hit a pedestrian, and now all of it is gone in a split second just because you didn't have the proper protection in place. So we want to make sure that really everything is covered so that our clients can never take steps backwards, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It's actually something that I, for one, like, I have several automobiles, and I have no idea what my protection is. I wish I did. I'm sort of sounding foolish in front of everybody, but we're probably a lot the same. If you look at all the people that are out there, we buy insurance because we're told to buy insurance, and you have to have it before you buy a car, and most of us probably buy the minimums rather than the maximums.
So what we provide for our clients in that area is really more of a studious approach to these amounts of protection and how you go about it.
And you're not selling auto insurance.
None.
It's all part of the package. It's all part of what you're doing to ensure that your client understands that they are covered by whatever risks that there may be by not having enough or proper
And
insurance.
it really does go back to what our mission is, and our mission is to help people make smart financial decisions. That's the bottom line of it all, and that's what drives our process with clients, and that's what, you know, drives people like Aaron to join our company.
That's great. How many representatives do you have here?
Right now, here in the Hawaii office, we have 40 advisors and another 10 on staff, so 50 employees here in the state of Hawaii.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, Aaron, or Vladi, you too, I want to hear about some of the experiences that you've had. I mean, you've got to have, and I always say to our guests, you know, worst experiences, best experiences. Do you guys have any that you'd like to relate as to what you were doing, either in business or in music, either one?
I could go. I guess the best and the worst experience would be my own.
Go ahead.
And really, like I said before, I was a client of this process, and gosh, I guess my scope of what I knew, anything finances, was slim to none. And I tell Vladdy this all the time. After my first seminar that I met with Vladdy, I actually was compelled to read, you know, 5 to 6 books on, like, probably the most, like, boring stuff on earth. But it kind of led me to really, really become passionate about this kind of stuff, you know. And I guess the greatest experience I had was really just in that scope of 6 months where I first met Vladdy to where I actually, you know, got hired at the WSP. I was able to just really change my whole perspective, you know, and if they could do that for me, like, I want to have that same kind of approach.
That you could do for others.
Of course.
I think what's good, though, is that you haven't become that high-pressured, you know, salespeople we hear about.
No.
He really still has that wonderful feeling of giving back, you know, to the people, and I think we can relate that. We see it in the way you are, you know. It's wonderful. Vladdy, how about you? Is it a tennis experience or is it a business experience?
Well, I want to say that it's a business experience because I do get a lot of personal satisfaction from, you know, doing what we do, and to me, some of the best stories is when I, you know, have clients who come in and, you know, especially those that don't think that they're capable of much, and then through work with them, we make certain things possible. Things like, you know, being the homeowner for the first time, and those types of things for people who never thought they'd be able to get there. And when you have those people in your office, you know, crying, being thankful for the work that you've done, those are the best experiences. Those are the things, you know, why I wake up every morning and start work.
I think that's fantastic. I think, you know, when you can do something for somebody that nobody else has done for them before, as what you were doing in music and what you're doing with your financial planning, I think it's critical. And I think the world today is so much more complex than it used to be. Being able to have money sitting in the bank is not everything anymore. There's a lot more than that.
Yes,
right?
it is. And I don't know if we can bring up the slide. I'd like to talk a little bit about that.
Sure, which one do you want?
As far as just of any living balance sheet.
Oh,
it will be fine.
slide,
four
there it
domains.
is.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's fine.
perfect.
So the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because you mentioned the complexity of the financial world. And, to give you a very good example of that is, let's say somebody wants to purchase a home. It would be a single financial decision. I'd like to go out there and buy a house. Well, as soon as they do, that would give them an asset on their balance sheet in form of real estate. If they don't buy it for cash, which most people in Hawaii are not able to because of our high prices of housing and so on, they'll have a mortgage, so a liability on their balance sheet. Before they could even sign those paperwork with the bank lending them the money, the bank would force them to purchase homeowners and hurricane insurance. And now as a result of that payment, the property tax payment, and the mortgage payment, they have an impact on their cash flow. So a single financial decision sort of has this ripple effect throughout your financial world. So being able to understand those ripple effects, and I go as far as saying that every single decision you make has that same ripple effect, some with smaller, some with larger magnitude, is the most important thing about your financial world. Understanding those, evaluating those ripple effects so that you can make smart financial decisions day in and day out.
Excellent, Vladi. I think you're making a lot of sense when it comes to people understanding that going out and buying insurance or going out and buying a home or going to a financial planner, it really is better to try to go to somebody who can help you analyze your personal assets, your personal liabilities first. And you guys are doing a very, very good job of it. I think that's terrific. Now tell me about some of your passions. Because Aaron, is music still a passion? Are you still out there doing your thing?
Always will be. I don't see how it could ever not. And it's a part of my life. And I don't really see it as jumping from career to career. Like I said, it's all about self-development. And if I haven't met you, I honestly couldn't say that I'd be here. Just the journey that I've been on and the level of passion that I was able to feel and maintain over the years. It's fuel on the fire, So it's completely necessary for me to do what I'm doing here to make sure that all my passions are aligned.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Vladi, how about you?
Well, next to what we do, obviously tennis is a big passion. So unfortunately, I don't, with the kids and the work, it's very hard to, stay competitive. But, I try to play in, most of the doubles tournaments here around the islands, and then I also play a lot of paddle tennis.
At Pacific Club, I saw your name up there.
Yes,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
that's become a passion really for me, and I have a lot of fun playing paddle tennis.
Do you find it's difficult to come down from your work, because I see that your passion is also your work. It's not just tennis. Is it difficult to come down?
A little bit, yeah. But tennis was such a big part of me for such a long time. So it's always great to engage and play. And so.
Yeah, I find on a personal level that I have to have something other than work. And whether it's,
Absolutely.
for me, it's tennis and golf. Those are my two outlets, so to speak. And I try to do one or the other every day. And I think it grounds me. I think it, especially golf, because you're hitting a stupid little ball about this big, and the ball always wins. You never win in golf. The ball always is the winner. In tennis, at least you can take it out on the ball a little bit and, hit a great shot every now and then. But in golf, it's a very humbling experience. Well, I'm glad to see that both of you are at least enjoying what you're doing other than work, because that's critical to me. Unfortunately, our show has come to an end. I wish we could continue. Are there any other parting thoughts you want to give? We have about a minute left. Vladi, on your business, and I mean, I just love that anybody can come to you, and you guys will help them. I think that's great. They could be a small business person or a large business person. I think it's a great invitation for people to come to Wealth Strategy Partners. I think it's wonderful.
Well, I really just want people to encourage your viewers to think about financial planning, hopefully in a little bit of a different light, and think about some of the things that we talked about, particularly, the financial organization, the saving part of it all, and the protection. I think, if they focus on those things, it will yield a lot of success, and that's what we're all about.
Terrific. Well, I want you to know we've had a great show today. You know, sometimes we get very serious with ISIS and the Arab world and what's happening in China and Thailand and all that stuff. But it's so good to know that we can come down to our world. What is our world, your world, my world all about? And you guys have helped us a lot in understanding that we need to take care of our own personal little world and make sure that financially we're set for the future. Thank you both very much for joining us.
Thank you, Seymour.
Thank you very much for having us.
My name is Seymour Kazirmirski. This is Seymour's World. Thank you for joining us today. Aloha.